This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore! Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, everybody, welcome to the WWE Podcast. It is Monday, February 12th, 2024. I don't have Anthony with me tonight, so this is going to be a bit of a news-heavy segment and additional thoughts and, I guess, movement forward on all the storylines going on, particularly Cody and Rock and some other things, the Elimination Chamber for the women. I haven't done a news brief in a while, so this is going to be a kind of a current state / news for WWE moving forward, and actually an MJF update, whether or not he's signed with AEW. So, just so you know, tomorrow, Anthony's going to be joining me for the Raw review. So, he'll be back. You'll get your dose of Anthony and myself tomorrow on the Monday Night Raw review. So, no worries there. It's coming tomorrow. And I'd like to also welcome a new patron very, very quickly, Kaiser Khan. So, Kaiser, welcome to the WWE Podcast. I hope you enjoy all of your ad-free everything and your Discord server. So let's get into some stuff. Now, I have seen snippets of Raw, at least headlines. I haven't watched much of Raw at all. Actually, I haven't watched anything. I've just seen, again, screenshots. It's impossible to avoid it on social media. So I have seen that there was a confrontation between Cody and Seth. They once again have not a standoff, but rather a conversation regarding the main event of WrestleMania. So that's something that I'll obviously dive into tomorrow in the full Raw review. But I want to dive into a little bit deeper about The Rock turning heel. Now, I've already discussed the possibilities for WrestleMania many times over the last several weeks, almost ad nauseum. I know I've talked about it almost too much, and I need to change my palate. I'm eating the same food, and I feel like I need to change up what I'm eating. But it's the talk of the town, and it's difficult to get away from. But right now, it looks like, doesn't look like, it is confirmed that The Rock has turned heel. The Rock appeared on Joe Rogan's podcast and confirmed this. This isn't just, well, he's kind of turning, well, maybe. No. This is a full heel turn, and he said he's going to try to pull on the Hollywood Rock character into this 2024 updated heel Dwayne Johnson Rock character, which is, I'm excited for it. It's really almost impossible to screw up The Rock and Roman Reigns, a match that just a month ago everyone seemingly wanted. There were no movements on X or social media or crying from Cody fans. There was none of that. That didn't happen until WWE actually did something, and they had an awful creative decision on SmackDown, one that will, as I said, will go down in the history of WWE lore as one of the biggest flops in WWE history when it comes to creative. However, they have fumbled and picked up the ball, and they are now still headed towards the end zone. It may take longer to get there, but I do believe they'll get there. See what I did with the football reference? Yeah, we're still all in the Super Bowl hangover. By the way, I hope everyone's feeling better by this time. I would hope that your hangovers are on their way out if you did enjoy the game, and I hope that everyone's feeling well and had a good, safe time. And I saw most of the game, but not all of it. I actually was recording when the game was in overtime. My wife was keeping me updated on the score, and she's sending me, OMFG. We all know what that stands for. All these things like, oh my God, what? Oh my God. I'm just like, all right. So I had to pause and see what's going on. But my football reference, I think, is applicable, not just because it's the Super Bowl and I think I'm being clever, but also because it's a good analogy where WWE fumbled the ball big time with The Rock and Roman Reigns, a match that they were dead set on having, and it blew up in their face because of the support for Cody and the reports that The Rock is using his leverage to main event with Roman, and he's actually trying to win the belt from Roman. All these things that came out on top of the fact that everyone's been waiting for Cody and Roman to meet again after last year's debacle at WrestleMania. And there's been consistent, unwavering support for Cody. I'll admit that. There has been unwavering support for Cody, which, I mean, even I am befuddled, bamboozled by. I don't understand the consistent support for Cody. I can't remember another star in the last 10 years even, maybe Daniel Bryan's the last one, that the fans just decided, no, this is our guy, and we're going to go on it, and this is it. This is who we want. And there's no dueling chants. The fans aren't conflicted. They seem very set on Cody, which gives WWE confidence, because how often do we see fans flip and flop and go with the wind and this and that? No, there's been a very large, consistent support for Cody now since the moment he debuted a couple years ago at WrestleMania, or re-debuted, returned to WWE a couple years ago against Seth Rollins. So don't forget, these two have already met at WrestleMania. Many people forget that. So if they were to do it again, I mean, they could have torn the house down, but that's not what the fans wanted. And WWE was forced to change their plans. And now, as I said, they've botched The Rock Roman, at least for the time being, and The Rock's going full heel. And again, I don't think we should underscore or underestimate the significance of The Rock turning heel in 2024. It's really something that no one was thinking about at all prior to the whole Rock-Roman match that we've been talking about for years now. Nobody was talking about The Rock turning heel. Now, that's because we didn't see the Cody factor overriding The Rock and Roman. But when it does eventually happen, and here's the thing, it will happen. The Rock and Roman Reigns will happen. And I think it will happen at WrestleMania. And I think it's going to happen at WrestleMania 41. Now, that means a couple things. One, The Rock is truly playing the long game. And he'll probably be in and out of wrestling in a heel role, supporting the bloodline over the next several months, through the summer, maybe and through the next 12 months. Which does lead you to believe it's possible that The Rock costs Cody Rhodes the championship at WrestleMania. I think, I think it's very possible. I didn't say it's probable, because if Cody Rhodes had, his character anyway, had any intelligence whatsoever, he would say to Nick Aldis, look, you gotta have the bloodline banned from ringside, including The Rock, including Solo, including any new members that may pop up. Ban them all, and if one of them interferes or even shows up, Roman Reigns immediately forfeits his championship. So I think Cody Rhodes should do that, and honestly, I don't know how nobody has done that over the last 3.5 years, since Roman Reigns has used this finish, for the most part, with the bloodline. So I think that that's what Cody Rhodes should do, which, again, would keep everything fair and square. There's no trickery, and I talked about this last night on the Weekend Review. There's no weirdness. There's no hokey pokey on the outside. Nobody coming in from the inside, outside, underneath the ring. Nothing. No one's being resurrected, right? So, to me, that's how you have to do Cody Roman. Clean, excellent 20-minute match. Put Cody over, move on. And what that does is cement Cody as a legitimate winner. There's no weirdness, no outside stuff, right? You got to have that happen. And again, if you don't, then I guess Cody could still overcome the odds, even with The Rock interfering. Perhaps he has John Cena in his back pocket to help him. As I've said, I think John Cena is showing up at WrestleMania. I don't know if it's in a match, but he will physically be involved in something. So perhaps Cody alludes to an equalizer if the Bloodline decide to interfere at WrestleMania. And instead of going to Nick Aldis, which any normal person, if this were a real competitive sport, anybody would just go to their manager and say, hey, this, I mean, have you seen this the last 3.5 years? Am I the only one who's missed this? Can we not just ban the Bloodline? You know? But if that's not the case and they don't want to go down the road, why doesn't Cody, or maybe that's the plan, get attacked by the Bloodline week after week, and then he says he's making a few calls, he's got a friend in mind, or maybe he just says he has an equalizer if the Bloodline want to show up at WrestleMania. And that's when, after the Bloodline beats Cody down, spear, it looks like Roman's about to make the cover after the Samoan spike. Maybe, I think what we're going to get, and I know we're going way into the weeds here, but since the match is happening, it's confirmed we can finally move forward with our projections. If Cody and Roman, they're going to knock the house down. I think they're going to have one of the best WrestleMania matches. I know that sounds cliche, but I think they're capable of having one of the best WrestleMania matches in the last several years. And the exact same finish happens where Solo Sikoa shows up, Samoan spikes Cody, Michael Cole is losing his mind saying, this is disgusting. The exact same thing happened last year. History is repeating itself. And after the Samoan spike, here comes John Cena. He's the equalizer. He's the one who's going to come in because he has a bone to pick with the Bloodline too. The Bloodline doesn't have a whole lot of friends. So he could be the equalizer to, or maybe even Stone Cold Steve Austin. Hell, you could. Austin's capable of delivering a few stunners and fists, no doubt about it. Hell, he had a match with Kevin Owens a couple years ago. Even if he's not in ring shape, he definitely could at least do that. So I think Cody could, again, bring in John Cena, who makes more sense than Austin, but Austin would fit the bill too, and equalize things. Not help Cody with Roman necessarily, just take away the extra curricular crap with Jimmy and Solo and anybody else that wants to interfere. So that's what I think could happen if they don't ban the Bloodline. But back to the Rock's heel character. I want to bring this up. This is I'm going to cite the source here. This is from excuse me. I'm still a little bit sick, guys. SI, Sports Illustrated, and they have an update on the Rock's current heel role. And The Rock said, they said, quote, The Rock had been playing up his heel role prior to slapping Cody, but some still weren't fully sold on this being a full-blown heel turn. Well, it appears there's no doubting anymore. WrestleVotes is reporting that The Rock is ready to go full-on heel, taking inspiration from his Hollywood Rock gimmick in 2003. The report also notes that WWE is planning merchandise for Cody Crybabies, an insult hurled by The Rock towards the Cody fan base. Yeah, so first of all, I'll buy the shirt. I'll shell out the $35 or whatever overpriced, inflated amount of money they're charging for t-shirts these days. Sure. I'll do that, and then I'll throw in an R-Truth, Tom and Nick Mysterio shirt while I'm at it. Make it a package deal. So The Rock is embracing this, guys. Again, if you want to go check out the Joe Rogan show, you might have heard of it. They're a tiny little podcast on the outskirts of the podcast world. They don't make a whole lot of noise. Their viewership's pretty low. But it's a guy called Joe Rogan. If you can't see and hear the sarcasm, I hope you do. Obviously, Joe Rogan. If anybody doesn't know, he's like the number one podcaster in the world. Anyway, you can go check out the show. The Rock is very clear about where he is moving forward, and he is all in on this. There's no going back. So that leads you down the road here, right? And once I'll wrap up with this, and then I have some other stories I want to get to that aren't pertaining to Rock, Roman, and Cody. So, we have this situation where The Rock's all in. WWE unexpectedly turned The Rock heel to keep things moving along as a plan B. But now if The Rock's playing the long game, what happens? What happens here? I don't know what The Rock does at WrestleMania. That's for another day. But it's not against Roman Reigns. So we'll see who the one-on-one is. Or he's in a tag match. Or maybe he is just outside interference. But it seems like he's training to wrestle. So I think he's going to be in a match. But regardless, it doesn't change the fact that The Rock is going to stay a heel for a little while. Because if we're going to get to Rock Roman at WrestleMania 41, something big has to happen maybe at SummerSlam, where Roman turns on The Rock, and that's when The Rock is outnumbered again with Jimmy and Solo turning on him, and then The Rock is instantly a babyface. Cody has the belt, so all the Cody crybabies can relax, take a breath, and go, okay, do your thing. Title's on Cody now, I don't care. Which is exactly what we all need. I think that will unify us, actually. Taking the belt off of Roman and putting it on the shoulder of Cody Rhodes will actually unite most of us. It will unite most of us because then, again, the Cody fans, which were most concerned about the belt and Cody getting his moment, will have already had their moment. Cody's now champion. Roman is no longer the undisputed champion. And The Rock and Roman is set up at SummerSlam, and we can finally move forward. And I think we could all be united at that point. Because the whole crux, catalyst is a better word, for this backlash is one thing, and one thing only. Yes, the creative was terrible in the way they did it. I understand what they were trying to do on SmackDown, having Cody visually come out and WWE not trying to hide it, but Cody is cool with it somehow. Terrible creative. I understand what they were trying to do. It just was a very poorly executed maneuver that they thought would be a good one, and it clearly wasn't. So it is what it is. But the one factor, the title's still on Roman. I talked about this last week with Anthony on our current state, but it's true. The whole issue is that Roman is still champion. If Roman wasn't still champion, there would be no backlash. We'd get The Rock versus Roman, head of the table, bing, bang, boom, mega match. Everyone's happy. Cody's walking in as champion or whatever. And we're all happy. But no. That's not happening. So The Rock Roman seems to be pushed back a year, and I'm cool with that as long as it's done right. Now, when you come to Elimination Chamber, there's a report going around, and I put this out on X as well, that there seems to be a consensus that there's going to be a tag team match at Elimination Chamber where it's going to be Roman and The Rock, not versus, Roman and The Rock versus Seth and Cody. Wow. If that is the main event of the Elimination Chamber, that's a mega match. That's huge. And what are the implications of that? What's on the line? I don't know. Maybe just pride. Maybe there are stipulations added to it if it becomes official. This is not official right now. This is just what's being reported, and what the general consensus seems to be is that it's going to be a tag team match. Now, do I think it's highly likely that happens? I don't think so, because Roman Reigns was not scheduled to be on the show originally, and usually they don't change things at that level this time, or this late in the game, but they could. We've seen things already change drastically in the last 2 weeks. But they also maybe want to highlight the chamber matches themselves and end with the men's chamber of who's going to face Seth Rollins. And that's the other thing. Seth Rollins is being pushed aside completely during this whole thing, which would be a good thing to inject him into this event, into this tag team match that hasn't been official yet. That's, to me, a good thing for Seth. And the only thing is, can he compete, though? Is he physically able? Because his knee is not 100%. Now, maybe he is able to go in a tag team match where the load is about 50% less. Maybe that's what they do. But Seth Rollins has been really pushed aside here. And he feels like an afterthought. And he's the World Heavyweight Champion. So it's weird. It is definitely weird. But I think they've got some work to do when it comes to Seth Rollins himself. Now, let's move on, though. I want to get out of this this whole Cody Rock Roman thing. I need a moment to breathe, okay? Come up for air when it comes to this whole story. It is suffocating. Now, let's talk about the women's Elimination Chamber match. And this is according to Wrestling Inc. And here's what they say. They said that while Bayley versus Io for the Women's Championship is set for WrestleMania 40, Rhea Ripley is currently waiting to see who will challenge her for the Women's World Title at WrestleMania. That will change at the Elimination Chamber. And Belair and Lynch won't be the only notable stars to step foot in the chamber, as the reports, and here, guys, this might be some spoilers, okay? So you've had your chance. You might want to skip ahead. You've been warned. So here are some spoilers that are apparently the names of the women who are going to be in the women's chamber match. And they are Becky Lynch, who's already qualified, Bianca Belair, who's already qualified, Liv Morgan, Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, and Jade Cargill. So they said that as per usual, plans are subject to change, as they seemingly do. So those are the names of the women who are right now slated to be inside of the Elimination Chamber. And I think that that's reasonable to assume that those are correct. And I do wonder, too, are they going to really go with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair this year? Do they dare do that? Because Jade Cargill made a lot of noise in the Women's Royal Rumble. She was a highlight of the night. And Belair was featured in the press conference. She is one of the faces of the company. So she's going to have a high-profile match. And I don't see her matching up with anyone except Jade Cargill. So perhaps they already get to that dream match. One that I've been talking about for a couple of years now, as others have. And I think that visually it's pleasing. But of course, given the fact that beyond how visually pleasing it is, because they're both very muscular women, very muscular black women, obviously, that beyond that, can they mix in the ring? Is the chemistry there? That's obviously what's going to be more important than even just the visual of them facing off. So that's my guess, though. If I had to guess, it's Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania, and it's Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley. Now, they could throw us a curveball and go Jade Cargill winning and facing Rhea Ripley. That's still on the table, but there may be some backlash for that. And really, is Jade Cargill ready for that type of pressure? I don't know. I know nothing about her from a personal perspective. Obviously, WWE knows much more than I do on that, but those are the names, guys. Obviously, Naomi, she has a slight chance. She's, returned. She's got some momentum behind her. Tiffany Stratton, almost no chance because she just debuted on the main roster. While she has some confidence and her moonsault is money and she is the center of the universe, it's just obviously not ready. And Liv Morgan, who, let me just say something about Liv Morgan, okay? I like Liv Morgan. I do. Think about where she was in the Riot Squad. Think about the terribleness that was. I mean, I remember them being used as punching bags on a weekly basis by Ronda Rousey. And so she's come a long way. And she was the women's champion. And her return at the Rumble was met with ho-hum. Like, again, I've gone over this, but it was met with love, but very kind of hesitant love because the fans expected more. And she's on this right now, this revenge tour. That's what Liv Morgan's calling it, is this revenge tour. And people are saying, because I've asked, well, what exactly is she after her for? I mean, what revenge is she trying to extract? And apparently it's for Rhea Ripley, who broke her arm. Fine, yeah, I remember that. But if you're on a revenge tour, why does everyone else have to encounter your wrath? Why are you imposing your wrath on everybody if it is in fact focused on one woman? And the reason is, this is a new Liv Morgan. She's got new fire. Well, I mean, fine. She's trying to find a new identity. Give her character a little bit of a boost, and I have nothing against that. But it's just, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why I'm making a big deal out of this. But you can't go on a revenge tour if you're only really angry at one woman. It's not. How's that fair to everyone else, right? It's like breaking up with an ex, and you're really mad at your ex, but you take it out on everybody else. I don't know. I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, but anyway, I want to move on here. So let's move on to MJF. Now, ever since MJF was beaten down by the Devil's, what is it? The Devil's, I can't remember the name. In AEW, they had the storyline where they were trying to reveal who the Devil is. It ended up being his best friend, Adam Cole. They beat him down. Haven't seen MJF in like 2 months. And ever since then, the whole bidding war of 2024 has gone cold, has gone quiet. Radio silence. And there have been no confirmed reports that MJF has signed anywhere. So I did some digging around. Actually, I just tweeted at somebody or X'd or posted. I don't even know what you call it anymore. What's the verb for Xing? Like, it sounds dirty, right? I don't know what you do or what you say. But I sent a question to somebody who is part of Wrestling Inc., who is a staff member there, one of the journalists, and I said, what do you think about MJF? Do you think he's re-signed? And he immediately responded back and he said, yes, I think he's signed with AEW and he'll be with them for many years. So again, nothing confirmed, but getting that piece of information from someone who's more on the inside than I am is more of a confirmation to a lot of people's beliefs that MJF is staying with AEW. And you know what? It may be better for him, but I will say this. There's more to life, or actually not even just life, your career than just the dollar. There's the platform. And if you really want to hone your craft, you really want to be the biggest star possible, and you really want to make the most money, WWE is the place to do it. They may not pay you the most guaranteed money, but the upside with all the merch and the eyeballs and how hot WWE is, which they've been, I can't remember a time in the last 10, 15 years they've been this hot since the Ruthless Aggression era. WWE is kind of the place to be right now. So he may be just looking at zeros and ones on his check, and that's, more power to him. If that's true, he signed with AEW, then, again, this is obviously not my decision, but I would say that there are obviously more factors to consider than just how many dollars are in that paycheck you get every week. So, again, I will say the one thing, though, about MJF. At one point or another, at some point, he's coming to WWE. So say he signed a multi-year deal. Maybe it's a 3 or 4 year deal. That means that we're not going to see him potentially until 2028. So we have to wait till 2028. Maybe that's a new slogan. That's awful, I know. But perhaps that's what we have to do. And at that point, he's still relatively young. He could still have a few good years left in his body if he doesn't get injured or decide to do something else. And he'll be hopefully an even bigger get at that point. But maybe they're missing the mark here. Maybe WWE offered him something and it was way out of the price range that AEW is offering him. Again, AEW needs him. WWE doesn't. They would like him, but they don't need him. And that's where the dollars will reflect the want versus need in a big way. AEW needs MJF. They need him for ratings, for quality television, quality wrestling, a big name. He's one of the pillars of the company. Whereas if you brought him to WWE, they wouldn't be hurt if he didn't, but they would be, I think, better for it if he did. So that's the difference. So I do believe that the person I reached out to who works for Wrestling Inc. is correct. I do believe that he probably has already signed with AEW, but the reason we haven't heard anything is because simply I think he's injured. And he's probably recovering from some kind of surgery and doing physical therapy. That's my guess. The reports coming out after that event of having Adam Cole turn on MJF were that he had he was beat up and he needed a rest and needed to recharge his batteries, and that he had a shoulder issue that he was going to get cleaned up. So if those are all true, then sure, we probably won't see him until maybe another month or two. So, all right. So I'm going to wrap things up here, but one last comment. Triple H at the Super Bowl during it, I think he said that there's something big coming. There's something big that's going to drop. And all it was or something epic. I think he actually used the word epic. And all it was like a 35-second trailer for WrestleMania 40. That's it. It was just the four guys, or rather, I think was Seth Rollins in that? I think he was. Just the big names that are at WrestleMania that are going to be facing off. They obviously got them together and said, hey guys, we're going to do a shoot for the trailer for WrestleMania. First of all, that's not epic, Triple H. I know he's trying to get some attention and eyeballs and like, oh, it's going to happen. And sure, it worked. But let's relax with the epic talk. especially when that revealed absolutely nothing other than a well-put-together promo for a match that we already knew was happening. There was nothing new revealed. I don't know. I felt annoyed by that. I felt duped. I felt like a sleight of hand happened. So that annoyed me. But that's it. If that's my biggest complaint, was that I had to watch a 35-second trailer for WrestleMania, then I think I'm doing all right, you know. But all right, I think I'll stop there. I know it's a little bit shorter than normal, as Anthony will join me tomorrow night on the Raw review, which is going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure a lot of news coming out of Monday Night Raw. I'm trying to ignore it so I don't cheat myself before watching the show. So a lot to talk about as we are now in the thick of it. We're in the thick of WrestleMania season. And again, Elimination Chamber 2. There's still a lot to be hashed out at that event in Perth in a week and a half. Or a week and a half, we'll call it. So much to do, guys. So much to talk about. And I appreciate everybody sticking with us. And as our listener base grows, I'd encourage you to get rid of those ads for $1 a month, guys. Or you do a 7-day free trial. Both of them are available on Patreon and on Apple Podcasts. And after the trial, you can decide to stay or go if you'd like. But it is an option. It is a way to just check us out for free. So, all right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with the Raw review. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.